This is your daily market recap for Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Mack, EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. Let's get into it. Again, if you are newer to the channel, please check out the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Tons of talk about the market, anywhere from oil, financials, SPY, Bitcoin. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in here today. And again, if you are newer to trading or you've been trading for a while, but you're struggling to get that edge, I think this room can help. I think our teachings and just being able to be honest with each other and coach each other in a sense that nobody is always right, understanding the markets for what they are, but also having a few people who have tremendous amounts of market experience to guide you through the uncertainty. Because I think a lot of people right now don't realize what's going on, but they also are really unsure where to look for answers. Because again, if you're looking for answers from the mass media, from the financial stations, from all the wrong sources that are usually and always wrong, that's the problem. That's why 95% of traders and investors who speculate on their own will lose. It's not because they're dumb. It's usually they follow the wrong information. Because again, if you don't know this about the market is meant to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people, and it always does. It fattens the pigs up. It fattens the pigs up before the slaughter. Keep that in mind. Let's get into it. Bisque Bitcoin. All right. We've talked about this, why we thought it was a head and shoulders top, that ultimately if it couldn't hold here, it was going to crack. It did. It cracked. Now what? I mean, you're getting some volume down here. I think it's oversold near term, because I mean, think about it. It just took a 30% dive. Now, does that mean it's can't go lower near term? I really struggle with that, because my whole point of this support equals resistance and just trading what it is, if you didn't sell here or stop out, you're now in between spots. And when I say in between spots is I don't really see any major support until you get to like what, 15,000, 13,000. I mean, you could say support right here. I mean, we talked about this yesterday in the recap. This level right here. Here, I'll just draw a quick box. Where are you, rectangle? We talked about these levels. Oh, come on. Hopefully you're having a good day. This is for some reason it's not being friendly. All right, you can see there's kind of a old support zone right here. Now again, it's very minuscule. I think you could hold there because it has muscle memory. There was chop. Ultimately, what do I think is coming though? You're really being dependent. You're really dependent on market liquidity. Keep that in mind. That's what's really, to me, driving Bitcoin near term, because stimulus checks and all the stuff that brought people in to push it up to extreme prices are probably all liquidating now, taking their losses. And if the market isn't really holding up, they're going to take their money. Now, again, this isn't an argument about whether it's sustains long-term a good investment. I think people who were smart got in near the lows. And the people who got near the lows, they understand the heat. People who've been trading this know this thing takes monster diggers. Well, if that's the case, if you didn't stop out, that's really on you. I don't know. I don't really give advice like that, because I'm not Jim Cramer. I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm just going to tell you the levels you should watch and what I'm doing. And if I'm right or wrong, I'm right or wrong. But at this point, I would expect Bitcoin to pull back even more. And again, does that mean it has to happen tomorrow? Does it happen next week? I don't know. But when you break support levels, you usually go lower, right? Like, it's really that simple. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. So be safe, be smart, first of all, and know your levels. And again, if you're a little late, who cares? Oil, hello, talked about it. Talked about this lower high. Talked about now again, think about sentiment, because one of the things we talk about, the most amount of money is taken from the most amount of people. Who are the people jumping into oil lately? Think about it. Stock twits, fin twit, Wall Street bets, like all the people who just got murdered in every other asset, they all jumped into oil at the highs. I mean, you literally can't paint the picture any better for a short. Now, again, people say, well, you were a little early, this, and I get it. Trust me, I get it. I was on vacation. I missed some things. Ultimately, to me, the risk was worth the reward. Now we're getting back our money, getting back to even on a lot of things, and getting up on some things. Again, aggressively trading. We talked about this, and we'll get into the oil stuff later, but just notice what's going on here. Topping out, I think. And again, it could hit extreme spike on the FOMC, yes, but I think demand destruction is coming. Again, check out the Discord room. Also, check me out on Twitter. I'm typically posting the most obvious things to me. When I say obvious, daily charts explaining what I'm doing and what I'm seeing. And I'll drop probably 20 or 30 of these a day. And again, are they like day trades? They're more of reminders of what I think about in the video, what's going on. For example, like I've just told people in the metals markets, please do not buy this stuff. It gets washed out in a bull market. Coding, overloading, consider turning down volume. Let's get into TLT here. Now again, whenever you're analyzing a long-term swing trade, what's the first thing you need to do? You need to check out the monthly. Notice where we're at. We are at support from here, or sorry, resistance, support, broke through it, then break over it, support. This area matters. Now again, a lot of people always go, well, that's not the exact price that needs to hold. Again, if you think the market is rational and is going to hold exact prices at bottoms and highs as support resistance, you're missing out on actually what happens sometimes, because again, the market isn't rational. It goes by, it goes, look, think of more of the prices as levels. Levels. Now again, when you say levels, is it an exact price? No, because you can't literally predict the exact lows and highs to a penny, because that's just, you don't know the order flow. You don't know how it's all coming through. Anyway, so let's digress back to this. You're at support. Is it bottomed? I don't know. FOMC is coming. I would likely think yes, because again, I'm looking at this novice gap. Now again, if you're newer to novice gaps and you're confused, here was a novice gap, took a couple days, reversed. You can see up at the highs. Here was a novice gap, took a couple days, reversed. Novice gap, reversed. Novice gap, reversed. You know, again, and by novice gap, I just mean it's simply a reversal pattern near term of oversold, overbought. Again, novice gap and then flipped. You had some novice gaps, you came back down. That was a professional gap, luckily for them, because it immediately kept going higher. Think about the difference. Like a novice gap fails shortly after it makes lower lows. A professional takes out and continues. Like, here you go. That's professional. It's going higher highs, higher lows. So, but then you can actually have novice gaps here to come back. It can be a little confusing. Trust me, I get it. You only really know until afterwards. Hence why you're just on red alert. Because now, going into the FOMC, we don't know what the hell they're going to say. We're anticipating what? Higher rates. That's the one thing we do know. But one of the things you need to think about is taper tantrums. Like the market could possibly, and let's say, hey, we think the economy is going into a recession. Well, ultimately, I mean, I've thought about this. Like, that's what the rates, that's what the feds are, probably want. Because if they can't borrow at low interest rates, the federal government is insolvent. Keep in mind, like, they need low interest rates. Not only them, the economy, everything. And so now this is the thing where I think maybe the market could rally some. Oil should get smushed. Commodities will probably get smoked. And now smoked, it's all relative. If it's something like gold, it might go flat near term. I think ultimately, though, again, if you pay attention, when the fear ramps up, people will jump into bonds. I think we really haven't gotten that fearful, because if you look at the VIX, and again, that doesn't mean tomorrow the market's going to tank. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is ultimately I think money starts to create a support zone in the bond market, in the sense that rates do not go higher, the TLT holds, and rates should go lower in time, because again, by literally advertising that they're going to raise rates so fast, so hard, the perception from the rest of the people in the economy, and again, this is just businesses, this isn't people paying attention to what's usually going on, they're going to go, we're going into a recession. They know a recession comes from higher rates. They know demand, like, they're running their businesses. So if the prevailing thought becomes recession, then usually bonds get bought. And when I say usually, like every time, unless this time is different. So again, if the feds need lower rates, they don't give a shit about the money in the stock market, because they want it to go into what? The bond market. They need to keep government debt demand. They need dollar strong. They need people buying their debt. I know that might be hard to wrap your mind around from the perspective of just trading, but you have to think about like the macro picture here. If the feds raise rates and it actually puts money back, credibility into the dollar, puts money credibly back into the, like, buying our bonds. That's what they care about. They don't care about the stock market. Now, I get people say, oh, they do, but they don't. At this point, they put the punch bowl in. They put QE in for 13 years. They did all they could. At some point, they have to pick their poison. Do you want low rates, or do you want a market that, I mean, again, I don't think the market can rise at this point, because you need to get rid of inflation. They need lower rates, and they need to hit inflation. Hence why we're shorting oil, we're shorting commodity stuff. Makes sense, okay? So, TLT again. Watch this action. Now, again, could it do this? Could it be like this, gap down in multiple day? And there, boom. I think that may have been a Fed day, actually. And then rally? That's my guess. Now, keep in mind, don't be a hero. Pick and choose your pieces, layer in. Again, I think you can buy right now at 108.90, whatever, 109. But don't go all in. Buy a quarter, buy a fifth, buy a third, whatever you're comfortable with. And just limit your risk. Because again, if you get better prices, great. And if it doesn't, now you know where the bottom is, and you can use it as references to buy dips. Because again, think about it. Off the bottom, it's probably not going to just go shooting to the moon. It really doesn't. But if this is a bear trap, and by bear trap, I mean make a new low and then get back above it, I think you should also have in mind, just keep this like reference area. If you get back above like this 112s area, mid 112s, that's bullish, because then it would be a bear trap and you should go higher. Just keep that in mind. The dollar. We're going to wrap through some of these fast because, again, they're just repeating. If you watch the previous videos, you know this stuff. We talked about this monthly. People were saying, oh, the bearish dollar last month. And I was like, no, I think you're breaking out of your channel up because, again, if there's debt destruction, people want dollars. They're going to want, hopefully, treasuries if we still have the capability to be the leader of the world. They're not going to buy European debt. They're not buying Italian debt. They're going to buy good old American Uncle Sam debt. Here you go. Dollars as well. Gap, 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 and go. That's all there's really to say. I think the dollar's going up because the market is scared. I mean, again, keep in mind, the market is scared. Just don't ignore that. The VIX. Everyone's like, oh, the VIX is down today. That's crazy, considering the market's going lower. No, it's not. Remember, the VIX is the pricing of velocity of moves. Would you not agree, compared to yesterday, the velocity of the up or down market is a lot smaller? I mean, you had a 800 or 900 point down Dow day. You know, again, that's all relative. And the Dow is down 90 points. That means the volatility has compressed because the action has tightened up. We have an inside candle on the VIX. Not surprised. Even though the SPY might make it a new low, it just tells you at this point, what? Need more information. The Feds, again, people freaked out yesterday. Now they're a little more comfortable and they're going to wait. They're not going to do much. The velocity of the market up and down probably goes nowhere until they speak and they talk. I hope people realize that. Same thing with the SPY. I mean, people are talking about shorting stuff. I said, where are we at? We're at the channel low, right? I don't know about that. I don't trust shorting. And again, this is like one of the things we talk about, rules. Like, if something's down big already, like, don't short more of it. Like, be safe. Like, this is a big move. 415 down to 370s. Like, that's a big move in 5 days. Now, again, I mean, everybody's kind of expecting a counter trend rally. We'll see if we get it. But at this point, you just got to wait. Because, again, if you short here and it rips on you, you're screwed. And if it goes lower, but you have to wait for the Feds, because it's not going to tank before the Feds. Like, what are the odds that the market's going to continue down without Fed Chair Powell opening his big yapper to say something? It's just not, because again, until they say something, the market just isn't going to know what to do. Same thing with the Qs. People are like, oh, I got to short more. I'm like, no, just wait. Now, again, if you want to know why it's a bear market, we talk about this every video. You broke the 20 month. And again, you only break 20 months once the bear market starts. You haven't done it in almost 13 years. Keep in mind, smooth up, velocity picks up, blow off top, game over. You'll see it in all these different formations. That's usually the top. Yep, IWM, we talked about it leading, possibly topping, and it was correct. Said the 50-day, look at that, boom, and now back at the lows. Now, do you want to short here? You are rolling dice, literally, gambling, absolutely gambling. I would not do that. Just don't do that. Wait for the breakdown, wait for them to say something, or don't trade. Again, I mean, you have to be careful pressing shorts at lows, just like you have to be careful pressing longs at highs. You need the counter trend rallies. Like, this is the time to short. Down here, you're playing the continuation trade, and I think it does continue, but it doesn't mean it couldn't knee bend before, which means like counter pops and then drops, or which would be worse for most people who are trading this, it just chops out and it takes a couple, and you know, chops out into the end of the quarter, and then you're sitting there going, well, what's next? What next? And you don't know. Gotta be careful over trading. I mean, people in the Discord room, I love you guys, and I appreciate you following and check out. But a lot of y'all over trade, man. You guys are trying to predict every single move, every day, intraday, all day. Your odds of winning just go down the more you bet. Again, this is a casino. If I go and play blackjack all day, in the end of the day, I'm probably losing. But if I pick my points to bet aggressively and not and vary my bets, I usually win because I wait for the card count to get in my favor. Because again, counting cards is not hard in blackjack. But if you bet the same amount all the time, the odds are slightly in their favor. You're going to lose. So you got to know how to vary your bet and or know when not to bet. I mean, same kind of thing. Gold, everybody is buying it up here. And I was like, watch this area in blue. Apologize, I didn't drag it over here. And it got up there, and everybody's excited. And I was like, man, that's interesting. You gap down, you rally back. Look at that volume. Is it sustainable? I said no, because again, if it's a bear market, know what gold does in a bear market. I say this on Twitter every day, and people just, I mean, I post to the same friends of mine who I think are continuously posting because they're like, you know, it's like a broke clock's right twice a day. Like at some point they will be right. And again, no one's going to argue that gold isn't going up long term. If anyone is one of the biggest advocates, it's me. It's a monthly cup and handle. If you knew me trading back then, I was calling this crap down here and was saying, hey, you got to be careful. You got to trade it. It's a bull market. Watch the action. We ended up getting higher. Look, boom. But now what? Now what? It's not really rocket science. Here's the handle. It's playing out. If the bear market creates a big handle, great. I'm not chasing it. Again, because what happens in bear markets? Oh, you don't know, huh? Here's gold. 99 down to 65. Took a 30% digger. What's 30%? It's like 30% from 195. It's like 60 points down. Now, do I think we can get down to 130? That would be this trend line down here, somewhere in there. I don't think so. I think gold's strong, actually, and probably holds this level. That's my guess. 160s to 150s. And I've said that 1,000 times, and I'm on record. And again, what if I'm wrong and it does go lower? Well, guess what? I'm in cash. I'm sitting here just watching. I don't trust it, just like I don't trust silver. And again, we can go through the miners. It's all the same trade. Do not trust these names because, again, they have not shown ever to hold up in a market crash. There's COVID, boom. Here you go, 20 down to 8. Then the rip. See, this is what you're waiting for, is the fail. Like the blowout, then you go higher. Fail, then you go higher. This is not done. If you think this is done, then you think the bear market's over and you think the feds are going to go back to quantitative easing and they're going to just do what they always know. The market punch bowl was huge. Everybody's wasted. Here comes the hangover. And again, if you think the hangover lasts 24 hours, well, the market hangover is probably going to last 12 to 18 months. Keep in mind, if you say the top was in November, we're only a couple months in. We're maybe a third of the way into this bear market. Keep in mind that the gold will probably bottom first, but it's not until we're in the later stages of the bear market. Let's be honest. We're not in the late stages. Look at oil, where it is. Look at nat gas volatility. I mean, just look at the market. It's got plenty of downside. GDX, same thing. Oh, got up to 200. Everyone's like, you're an idiot, man. You got to buy down here. Oh, look at that. We're retesting. And guess what? I'll probably be called an idiot again. And I'm just not going to buy it. Because, again, I know my past. Look at, I mean, that was pretty epic right here. I remember watching this during COVID. It went from 31 down to 15, 16. Then it wink. Same thing. 2008. And then right back. Please be smart. Do not chase this stuff. Again, do I have to show it in every ticker? No. GDXJ, same thing. Wait. Now, and people are going, well, what level? We'll get, again, what does a rational market do versus irrational? Well, let's be honest. The market's not rational, y'all. It's just not. It's just not. So what price? I don't know. But you'll know that feeling when everybody is freaking out. And the VIX is in the 40s, maybe 50s. Maybe it gets up to 100 like it did back in 2008. I don't know. I do know once the VIX spikes, then you can start buying in, especially if you're a long-term guy. You day trade that stuff and you buy calls or puts and all that, you know, you're going to get burned because the IV is going to be high, the VIX is going to be high, and your options are going to get absolutely eaten up. Unless you sell options, then you're the genius. AG, talked about it up here. Leave it alone. AEM, my alarm went off. It's made a lower low. Love it. They're doing well, but making a lower low. Goodbye. I mean, and again, not goodbye like as in it's a goodbye, like goodbye, it's going lower. Sold, like bought this, told myself I'm an idiot for buying it, sold, and now what? Going back to the lows, pass. Again, pass on it. Let it, again, if you are understanding of the past and you are basically trading off of evidence versus your emotions, you can sit here and let this stuff happen because you can follow a plan. But if you can't do that stuff and FOMO is real and you got to buy it, you're going to take a ton of heat. And that's what Twitter and FinTwit is all about. Like, these guys are loved. I mean, they're literally baking in the sun while we're sitting in the shade waiting. And then we'll go out there and party when it's ready. Like, it's just not ready. Let it go. Let it play out. Maybe the Fed say something that creates a bounce. I mean, it's due. But I'm not... It's a bear market. You don't know... You don't want to be early. Here's another one we played off of the 20-month. If you just go check it, it held it. Watch previous videos. Got up here. We said you got to get out. Liked it down here, but I was like, I don't trust it. It's a bear market, and look what happens. Now again, U.S. steel. If steel is doing great, which it clearly isn't, the stock has gotten cut in half. Do you think oil and all these names are safe? I mean, that's why I'm saying lay off commodities too. And if you're wondering what kind of names I'm buying going into the next bull market, this is the stuff I'm buying. This is why I'm reviewing it every night. So you see when I'll be buying, when you should be buying, and when, again, you might not, if you're not in the Discord room, you won't see the live trades, but you'll see, hey, we're buying in this area. If you're off a couple percent and it's going up double, triple, and you're probably not going to be mad. Here's another one we bought down here. Scott identified this bear trap. Bought it on the 20-day. Again, not at the bottom. Whee! Got out up here. Now what people said, oh, it's going higher. I'm like, nope, bear market. I'm not in. Gone. Now what I've said this, on previous videos. I mean, again, a rational market 13, maybe 11s. Great stuff. CCJ, I get attacked for this probably every day. I'm bearish on it. And again, these folks, they don't study the past. Because again, what is the difference? Nothing. I've said this in a billion other videos, and I say this analogy a lot. When the market gets sold, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. Everything goes. Now, does it mean that CCJ is going to get murdered like a tech stock? No. It just means it's going to sell. And when I say sell, it means it's going lower. How much lower? Again, the market's not rational. Like, I have this trend line. We traded this thing. We did really well trading this. We bought this thing on the 20-day. I remember backing it up and going, woohoo. And got out up in here, went a little higher, but we saw that there was not much upside because you could see in this low 30 area, the old, oh man, let me compress, 50% fib, support resistance zone. And it hit it, and again, it went a little over. People are like, oh, you missing, like, and then it failed. I'm like, see, but I do like it's being bought. But it doesn't mean it can't come back. That's the hardest part here is people don't understand a bear market because most people haven't seen one. They don't know what the heck is going on. They look at the market and they go, oh, it's functioning normally. And it's like, no, it usually gets pretty wild when it unwinds. Hope that helps. Now, again, where do you want to buy it? I get that question again. It's like every day. Like, what's this? Where? If I had a guess, upper teens. That to me seems like the no-brainer because look, it's the bottom here. Let's stretch this out. Support, resistance, support. So put that in your journal. Put it whatever you need to like remember. Like, all right, CCJ, 18, maybe even down to 16. There you go. That's the level I'd be watching. Arrow. Here's another one. I love this copper name for the long run. You need a lot of copper for the expansion of electricity, right? Oh, Dan, you didn't buy it here. Oh, look at that, making new lows. I know. What? I'll say it again. It's a bear market. Oh, but it's at your trend low. But guess what? The market's still going lower. Now, again, it could bounce on the Feds tomorrow. Let's not like take my words and twist them. But let's be honest. It's a bear market, right? Just wait. How low can it go? I don't know. I don't know. And people can't have, and again, if you could start admitting to yourself you don't know, you're going to do a lot better in trading. Mosaic, we talked about this one holding the 51 area. Said it's the old trend. Not surprised it bounced. CF, I think they got a big upgrade today. Now again, oh, you missed out. It's a bear market. The baby out with the bathwater. Again, I like these names long term, but I got to wait for them to pull back. Here you go. Channel high failed. Now how far? I don't know. 60s? Maybe? That's a big move, Dan. Well, guess what? It ran up big. It can unwind big. That's just how the markets work. Please, 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 please be safe. AMD. I mean, here I still have some of these shorts in the QQQ, AMD, and Apple. Took a little Apple off today to buy oil, and we'll tell you, or short oil. You'll see why. It's a bear market. I've told you we shorted here. Again, I didn't even get the high. Someone, I can't remember who got it in the Discord room. They're not around very often, but they shorted this right shoulder, and I imagine they traded it, and boom. It's a bear market. You can hold the shorts. Now again, at this price, keep in mind, I talk about this all the time with the chips. They become a commodity, they get slammed. And what do you mean by commodities? Literally, everyone creates great chips. They start undercutting each other in price. Deflationary on themselves, and an inflationary market, their margins get absolutely squeezed because they have to sell something, and they're all competing doing the same thing. It's kind of like playing Catan, and everybody has the same commodity, and no one wants to trade with each other, and so everybody literally gives it away. That's what happens. Everyone's just giving it away at some point. The action's pricing that in, if you notice. Oops. Apple took a little off today. I mean, again, just so I could short oil. We shorted up here. I honestly thought, now again, because again, I try to tell people, like, I want you to know I make mistakes. I'm not right. I thought you'd get channel high. I did not short that. I waited for the bounce, which was great. Ended up being a great bounce to short. Booyakasha. Took a little off here because we wanted an oil short. And again, we're going to get into it. But at this point, tech is a short on bounces. I mean, the market is. I mean, just if you can't wrap your head around the concept of what's going on, then you're going to struggle. Meta, I had to change the freaking ticker symbol, and it didn't save anything. As you can see, we're at range lows. It's just, I guess you call this a bear flag. People like to call it whatever. Channeling down. Do you short it here? I think you're playing with fire. Now, again, if it breaks down, great. But if you had profits, you should take some in the short and wait and see. Keep it really, really simple. Tesla, again, here's another name. I mean, again, all the tech names look like crap. Said this a million times. Smooth channel up, exhaustion higher, blowout, fail. Remind you of anything? Yeah, we're going to look at some of this stuff in oil and fail. Just look at this chart. And again, I mean, every day I laugh at it because people are like, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, I think it's going lower. I just don't know how it's going to get there. Clearly. When we shorted right here, actually, what's funny is actually shorted here. My bad. I shorted this 100 shares and was like, I'll take some, and it dropped so quick. I didn't get back into it and was like, oh, you idiot. Now, again, goes lower, not surprised. Again, check out the monthly. This is the Mount Everest of trades. This is literally the Himalayas, whatever you want to call it. This is the highest mountain in the world. You're falling off the backside of it. Do you want to buy it? No, you're an idiot if you do. And then again, we'll go, oh, you called me an idiot. No, I mean, like, you're just being dumb because the move is over. People are like, oh, Tesla will be around. It's like Cisco's around, Microsoft around. All these companies from the dot-com bubble survive, but they all corrected 80, 90%. Think Tesla would be immune from that? No. Roblox, like this name, I think they get bought out. Wait for the low 20s. Here's the depressing thing about fundamentals. A stock and a company that is literally destroying it, stock gets destroyed. I mean, the reason why I go over because that's the company I work for real estate, and I know how well we're doing, but guess what? Fundamentals don't matter. Here's another winner we predicted, and now here's what you do. W bottom, talked about this. We talked about this retest. Now you hit the good news. Take your profits. We said watch the blue zone and drag this across. Watch the blue zone. Watch the 50-day. Sorry, not 50-day, 20-day. It's holding. If I had a guess, what do you think the top is going to look like? I'll draw it now. An M. If it's a top. If it's not a top, then it should break out. But in this market, you don't know. The only reason, again, keep in mind, this is why shorting like mid-cap like biotech is just stupid. Because it could get bought out at any point, especially if they got the goods. These guys clearly have something good. Let's get into oil, because this is what, to me, is the bread and butter of what we're trading. Everybody and their mom is long oil. Go look at FinTwit, StockTwit, Twit, Stock, Wall Street Bets, Casinos, Bets, Caesars, Win, MGM. Everybody's betting on oil. And they're all betting on it to go up. How do you think that trade works? Now, again, if you would have told me, hey, I want to buy oil down here, I'm going to go, yeah, that makes sense. Volume price analysis, someone's getting wiped out, it's going to go higher. Market maker absorbing all this, probably going higher. Now, again, keeping USO is a great ETF to short because it deteriorates based off of futures and whatever. Just read the prospectus. It acts like crap once things starts dropping. Well, at this point, everybody and their mom is long oil. Think of this as a scale, and everyone's running to one side, and the market maker is giving them as much as they want. What is coming? What is coming in oil? Now, again, I'm not talking about 3 to 6 years. I'm talking about like in the next 3 to 6 months. What is oil going to do if deflation and inflation peak? Sorry, deflation starts and inflation peaks. And then again, on a relative basis, CPI goes from 9% to 6% down to 4%. And the feds are targeting oil, and everybody needs to pump more, and everybody knows they have to in the future. But retail's buying oil. No, it's the same thing as Tesla. You get like this smooth blowout top, double top, retest, blowout. Now, again, this is why top's going to be so hard. Do you really trust it as a bullishness? Now, again, if you're looking at the futures, you actually know we did not make higher highs. Like the futures, pretend the USO is open during after hours with the Ukraine stuff. Like that would be the high, somewhere in the mid-90s. We're making lower highs. People don't see that because, again, it's amazing how this chart is... It's meant to trick you. It's literally meant to trick you because, again, if you don't study the futures and you look at this chart, you go, we're making new highs. Well, you're not. But then also, too, let's wrap in the VPA. Look what happened here. I mean, this was the liquidity event. All in buying. Market maker's been feeding out shares as it gets higher. Ukraine was the liquidity event. That's the event. Now, again, this is what's so hard about tops is, everyone goes V bottom and V top. And it's like, no, look at TLT. Probably doing the reverse of this, where it makes a lower low, then it go higher. Are we making it higher high and the USO to go lower? That's my guess. Because, again, smart money is not buying USO. They're not buying oil. They're selling it. And then, again, let's talk about the XOP. Because this is, a conversation for folks. Smart money is buying down here. And after this thing goes up 600%, they're selling. But Dan, everyone's buying. I'm like, no. Actually, they're not. Because we talked about this signal here. On the last day of the month, you could tell them heavy profit taking. You rally to higher highs. You break out of the channel, and then you're trying to hold the 20-day, which, I think that's respectable. But again, think about where we came from. Again, this is one of those crappy ETFs that's just great to short. Think about it. Oil up at 2008 was up here, in the 150 range, and the XOP is still halfway below it. What's that tell you? Crappy ETF. At this point, now again, started shorting in the 140s. Was wrong. Not gonna admit. I'm very honest with people. Like, being wrong happens. Anyone who acts like they never lose, like you cannot trust them in trading. Because there's nobody who's 100%. Talked about maybe this next being the resistance zone. Well, look at that. Back tested over this old trend. A lot of bearish signals, but again, every day, if it doesn't go down, it's not bearish. And that's what that's why people can't swing trade, because they can't see the bigger picture. They want everything now. Impatient. Got to have it. Got to go in my favor. Got to do this. Now what? Professional gap? Professional gap, anybody? Professional gap, anybody? When's the last time we had a monster gap off the highs? Didn't. It was off the lows. Just putting it out there. Yeah, ExxonMobil. Here's another example of everybody stupid. And again, when I say stupid, I've been stupid. Like, I'm not immune from the stupidity disease. Trust me. I've been stupid. I used to buy Sirius and XM back in the early 2000s thinking they were the future of radio, which they were, and the stocks went down, and I ended up getting murdered. And that was because I was stupid. I chased the action. I thought it was going higher. ExxonMobil, CNB Special, ExxonMobil, the future, yada, 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 blah, blah. That's the extra blow off. Again, started shorting actually right around 94 to 95 range. Got a lot of heat. A lot of people talking junk. Well, guess what? Then we added literally right before the special. And now what? We're back to about flat, a little down on the initial buys, but where have we come from? Where you go? From Cotton Eye Joe. No, again, traded this masterfully back in the day. 30 up to 106. Is that the high? 105. You think it's priced in? What happens if oil doesn't follow through? Uh-oh. Because we're going to show you natural gas next. Look at this action. Professional gap, 2-day range, chopping. Oh, man. UNG. Here we go. Everyone's bullish natural gas. Oh, my God. Done. You had a big down. Chop, chop, chop. Another professional gap. The evidence is mounting for oil and gas to go down, yet people are stopping out at the highs. People are selling, and it's like, or no, covering their shorts and giving up, and it's like, you have to be careful. Now, again, I know have stops, have discipline, like no one's arguing that, but don't give up on a trade. I always tell people that, like, just because you're early, just because you're wrong, if you think your thesis is right and you have evidence, because again, we said this is the evidence. That was the blow off top, higher high, lower low, outside reversal candle, higher volume. Now what? Heading lower. And now today, big gap down, $5 gap down. Probably going lower, right? Let's get into some more of these names because, again, I love talking about oil because that's, to me, the obvious short. Now, again, you can short other things, but this stuff is all so high. Good old Fang Banger. Talked about this blowing off. You had like this nice, like smooth channel high. Here we go. So, I guess it's not totally smooth. You had like this nice smooth blowout. Gone. Chevron. We talked about this action last week, and if you remember the rant, we were talking, I guess it's 2 weeks ago. Talked about this. This was a red flag, and then a doji. Boom, at the 50-day. Valero, everybody's favorite oil, gasoline. I mean, they're trading at like 27 times future earnings. Come on, this is a freaking gas company. Like their margins are like razor thin. They just doubled or tripled, but their margin is now what, 10%, 8% from 3 to 4%. I don't know. Trading at 29 times earnings. Again, I think it's going lower. Here's the blowout. Old trend line high. Check this out. You can see it. Oh, daddy. Sometimes you love it when it's that easy. There you go. Let's put in EQT because that's a big holding in the XOP. Do you have any lines on this? No, not on this chart. On my other computer, I do. This thing goes from $4 up to 50. Here's the blow off. Here's the epic bigger blow off. Again, I call this like the double dragon because it's like, this is the, like that's the dragon blow off, like blowing fire. And then you go up there again, and then like, now you go. And what do we talk about? Now, again, did anyone notice this? We talked about this being a huge red flag at the highs. And now it gaps down and breaks lower. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Anyway, again, if you got any questions, you're trying to wrap your head around this, and you just, again, you're being open cup, we'll fill you up with some answers, some help. Come in there trying to play the what if game and this, and that. Again, you got to be evidence based. And again, when someone today was like, oh, I'm buying the XLF, and I'm like, don't you realize they take on all counterparty risk? They are literally, no one's like, people are running for money from the banks. They're not making any loans. They're firing people. And the logic is, hey, we're going to hold this zone for a bounce. These guys literally carry every risk in the market. Again, I mean, I would not buy a bank with my enemy's money because that would be just the meanest thing out there. People are thinking this is going to bounce. Maybe. But does it really like look like it's, and again, if you think about the banking industry and what happens and what's happening, any bounce is a short. So again, I mean, I would just leave it alone and just short a pop. That's just me. Anyway, talk to you later. See ya in the chat room. Love you. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.